This is Math 101. Today we're going to go through a example of a quadratic function and go through all the steps to make a graph of the function you see over there. So first we have to find the x-intercepts. To do this we have to factorize it. So we find the factors -7, -2. Because -7 minus 2 equals 3. And we end up with that. So when we go through all of that, we find out that the x-intercept, so that's when it hits the x line, is when it hits 1 and -2. Next we have to find the y-intercept. To do this, we make all of the x's 0 and just go through the equation. So 0 squared equals 0, and -3 times 0 equals 0, so the answer is 2. Alright, so now that we found the y and x factors, we have to find the vertex. So to determine the vertex, we make y equals 0. And we use the complete the square method. So we use the b, which is this, and we divide it by 2, and then square it. So now we minus 2 from both sides. And we add 2.25 on each side. When we're done this, we factorize it using perfect squares. Leave 0.25 there, just by doing basic math. And that factorizes out to x minus 7.5 squared. So we minus 0.25 from both sides, so we can isolate y. And from here, we determine that the vertex is 1.5 and -0.25. And we do this by making 1.5 positive and -0.25, we leave it be. Alright, so now that we found the vertex is actually if the parabola was one that would go like that, it would be the minimum point. If it was like that, it would be the maximum point. So now we have to find the axis of symmetry. So the equation of this is -b over 2a. So that equals out to be, we take the -b there, so that equals to be a positive, and 2 times a, and a is that invisible 1, that equals out to be 3 over 2. So now that we found all these things, we can move on to making the parabola. So what we just found, the vertex, it actually finds us, like, let's say the parabola was like that. It finds the maximum point. If the parabola looked like this on the graph, it would find the minimum point. So that's pretty helpful when we need to draw the parabola. So now we have to find the axis of symmetry. So the equation of the axis of symmetry is -b over 2a. So -b would be this, and that would end up actually being a positive. And 2a would be that, and that's actually an invisible number, which would be 1. And that equals out to be 3 over 2. So to graph this quadratic function, we use what we found so far. The first thing being the x-intercepts, I should say, which is 1 and 2. And the next thing we found was the y-intercept, which is 2. I marked there already. And now we just have to mark the vertex, which is I find the axis of symmetry, which is 1.5, or 3 over 2 as the fraction. And we go down to negative 0.25, so I would say that would be approximately right there. So now we just found a vertex. And from here on, we can draw sort of a sketch of what our parabola looks like. And from here we can determine that there's a minimum point, which is negative 0.25, and that is how you graph a quadratic function. Alright, so now we know that our x-intercepts are 1 and 2, so we mark 1 down here.